Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King.
Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day. Halfway twisted.
Everyone says you need good neighbours, but what happens when you have great neighbours? That is certainly the case on the Costa del Sol. And Marbella Now is an opportunity to meet some of our neighbours and see what they do, how they do it, because it could be of interest and sometimes very useful. I'd like to introduce my first guest, Bill Anderson. The first time here at the studio, I believe, but the second time I've had the pleasure to interview you.
Yes, I think the first time we were in the middle of lockdowns and masks, and we were over in the Palacio de Congresos.
Exactly,
yeah.
we were in the exhibition centre, the Palacio de Congresos. So that was and a pleasure to meet you. You're a fascinating human being. You're an author, and you are also an expat, a foreigner living here in Spain, but you've also become a town councillor, so I find all of that quite impressive.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting combination, yeah.
And I'm going to start with another anecdote, which is you're Scottish.
I am.
And recently celebrated Burns Night. In fact, the lovely Lisa Foley-Burgess organised a Burns Night tribute event for you, together with Arturo, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a really pleasant evening. How did it feel to be slaying the haggis and reading Scottish poetry and seeing your beautiful wife looking so fabulous in her outfit? It
was fun, and I think I think we've kind of missed events like Burns Night over this last couple of years. So it was great to feel that life has gone back to normal, and we had good fun. You know, but I had to explain that we were in Spain, so we couldn't actually bring a live haggis to kill for the address to the haggis.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, so yeah, we had to make do, but the haggis actually was not at all bad, and it was a great fun night.
It really was, and well done to the restaurant and everything, because it was well organised, the service was great, and then having Global Radio doing the disc jockeying bit as well at the end was really nice.
And I also got the chance to put the kilt on. I haven't had it on for a while, so it was good to find that it still fits.
And it is, you look really dapper now, and I have to say it looks, whether it's the uniform thing, but all of you guys dressed up in your kilts, it was very nice. It was a very nice multicultural experience, lots of different nationalities, and of course then speakers such as our ex-British consul Charmaine Arbois and Anna Landith of Brexpat Spain. So it was nice to have those friends you've made through your political aspect here. Well,
yes and no. I've made friends with some of these people because I'm a local councillor. But what I've been trying to do is to get
through being a councillor, I imagine you've opened your horizons and meeting some cool people.
Well, yeah, it's for example, with Anne, I decided some time ago that we should start a live stream in Mijas, just looking at local issues, and of course Anne was one of the people that came to my mind first, because we wanted then to really keep people up to date with what was happening on the Brexit front. And she's continuing to do that because there are still things coming up and still things not sorted. So Anne comes on with me once a month to do that. And actually, we've become good friends as well in the process.
That's what's so nice as well, for me, bumping into these people that you get to meet through the television. Obviously, we all meet a lot of people, but it's nice to get that different aspect. When you became a councillor, it wasn't something that you had envisioned necessarily.
No.
You have been writing some very interesting books. Tell us a little bit about your career as an author and your works, your literary works, before we move back to the political side.
I haven't earned enough to retire yet. Let me put it that way first. It's very hard, unless you're a big name, actually making a lot of money out of writing. But really, it was my wife that persuaded me. You need to write, you need to write, you need to write. And I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to write, I've got my first story. It came to me. So the first two books that I published were actually novels. And it's part of a trilogy And the third book in the trilogy is about half written, and has been half written for the last 4.5 years.
Is this the time that you've got involved with
the politics?
with the council?
Because it's very hard to get the kind of quality writing time. So I've got all my notes done to finish the book off, but I need probably 6 months to do it, and that's kind of difficult when you're working as a public servant. Now, I don't like to think of myself as a politician.
What are the theme of the books, of the trilogy?
Well, it's kind of about one man's journey, and the second book actually is a prequel, and it's a historical novel, so lots of real historical places and names merged with my characters, and talking about how this particular place in the mountains near Rhondda actually came to be built, which he then bought and turned into a sort of therapeutic centre. And the third part, which is half written, I can't tell you about the third part because
okay,
it's
where
not
can we get the
written
first two to bring us up to speed?
The first two are available on Amazon. The first one is called Where the Butterflies Rest.
Nice title.
The second one is The Butterfly Dream. And the third one is A Call of the Butterfly. But as I say, that's still a work in progress.
Well, I hope it takes you a while to get to it, if that means that you will be getting to do what you obviously are thriving on, which is helping people and being involved, I suppose, with the PP at the moment, the opposition party.
Yeah.
But that has given you great opportunities not only to meet nice people through like the councillors and all this kind of thing, but also the day-to-day person, and know that you're helping them resolve things that just overwhelm us. I mean, the rules, regulations are perfectly fine, but understanding them is a little harder.
Yeah, it can be complicated for people, and not having the language is a major hurdle for a lot of people. They get a letter and they don't know what it means. But yeah, what I've tried to do, I think, in these last, almost 4 years, we're heading up to the elections now, is become a source of information. And I still put a lot of information out. We do it via the live streams. I do it via my work page on social media. I send out stuff via WhatsApp to people. And it's getting information out. I think if we can do that, I think that's something very important and very useful.
Undeniably. What are your aspirations? If in the elections and you get in, what would you like to see happening, particularly as you represent the international voice? What is your census, and what would be the first matters?
I think my concern about the international community, and I like to call them the international community rather than the foreigners. In Mijas, for example, we make up 1/3 of the population. And I think many just live in their little bubble, and nothing touches them. And I think what I would like to see is far more involvement of the international community in the day-to-day life. Now, don't get me wrong, I think we do some wonderful things. You know, the groups like the Lions Club, the aged care, some of the animal charities, I think we do a fantastic job with these things. But, you know, if we really want to make changes and get the kind of resources that we need to get more involved in the political life, whether we like it or not. Because at the end of the day, it's the politicians that decide what the priorities are once they're in government. And I really would like to see more involvement of the international community in the day-to-day life and the political life of Mijas.
Sorry, I told you it was that dust. Excuse me. So basically that brings me to my comment. I said foreign community. You said international community, and I was going to ask you, the lack of people speaking Spanish, the lack of realising that they are foreigners abroad, they see themselves as, I'm the international community, kind of gives us this leeway to not learn the language and realise it's not the country's obligation to us to put it in English and provide things.
Yeah, but even if you look at what's happened, well, I've been out of the UK for 20 years. I've been living here for over 20 years now. But even when I was there, they were already starting to put things out in the UK, in Scotland at least, I don't know what happens in other parts of the UK, in various languages, acknowledging that there are people from, it's a very multicultural society in the UK. So I don't think it's unreasonable for more stuff to go out in at least the lingua franca, which would be English in the case of Spain. I don't think it's a bad thing. Yeah, would I like to see more people learning the language? Of course I would. Because we miss out on an awful lot by not learning the language. And we miss out that language conveys more than just words. It conveys culture and history, and it has lots of benefits for understanding the country that we've chosen to live in. But you see, I'm not very shy about this. A lot of people say, oh, we're guests in Spain, we're guests in Spain. Well, actually, no, we're not guests, because when I have guests at my house, they don't pay their way. When I have guests in my house, they live with me for free. And we don't live here for free. So in that sense, we're not guests. We're fully card-carrying, tax-paying members of the community. And I don't think we should be too shy about saying what we would like to see.
Beautifully said. Bill Anderson, thank you very much for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Nicole.
So interesting.
Hero welcomes at Wheels Cafe.
Everyone that comes and wants to join our Zero Hero Association, they will have free non-alcoholic drinks at our venue at any time.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hogan Stand. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign. And we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
We are we are
Perhaps quite fortunately, joining me now is Dr. Rachel Garrod, and she specialises in breathing. And I seem to be having these coughing attacks because I've breathed in a lot of building materials as they are building a bridge in my house, and I've just come with a car full of it. So, Dr. Rachel, how does one survive coughing attacks when absolutely saturated with alien bodies in my
well, you were
system?
doing the right thing. You were doing the right thing having some water, because one of the worst things that can happen to us is that if we get dehydrated, then if there is phlegm in our lungs, then it's much more difficult to bring the phlegm up. And also the pharynx becomes very sensitive when we're dehydrated, and that can set up a cough. If the cough is... You've started me off now, you see. If the cough is a cough that's required in order to clear phlegm, then it's really important that you do cough effectively. But when it's a cough a little bit like you've got at the moment, which is more of an irritation and a tickle, the tip there is to actually try and suppress that cough, because over time, the repeated coughing, I mean, it won't happen to you because this is as a result of that dust that you inhaled earlier.
But that's just what I have been doing. Like when I was chatting with Bill before, it was like I was literally okay, and then it's like, okay, to the limit of not being able to. But yes, I did feel that I would just get over it.
Yeah, I mean, cough suppression is actually a technique that we teach, and it's like what you do with a cough suppression is you do a sort of a hard swallow, and you're almost trying to use the pharynx to scratch at the back of the throat almost, because lots of people do suffer with long-term chronic cough, and it's as a result of irritants, but unfortunately their pharynx and their larynx area becomes very sensitive to the irritants, and so they need to learn to suppress the cough.
I've never heard anyone talk about medical issues that make it so, like, relatable.
Aw.
Which is why everyone was in amazement that in a 2-hour course that you did with Sally Williams, and I went there, it was about breathing.
Yeah.
And I didn't fidget, and I listened.
No, you were great.
Wasn't I? Wasn't I well behaved?
You're very well behaved.
I don't think any teacher in the history of my being would have thought that that was possible. But even little things, like I tend, when I concentrate, to hold my breath.
Yeah.
And the things that you brought up in such an understandable, relatable way, like, oh gosh, how many things we do without realising.
I think, because as you say, a doctor, PhD in physiotherapy, and I think that 90% of your medical health care has got to be about understanding your condition and understanding how to, you know, look after it yourself and to do things that you can do that will improve the situation. And I think it's one of the situations I feel quite sorry for doctors. They literally have 5-6 minutes at the most for a consultation, and it's impossible to get over the explanation of what is going on in somebody's body, and without that understanding, people can't move on and help themselves. So that breathing workshop that you're talking about, our 2 hours, is where we're really talking about a bit about the physiology of breathing. We've got, as you said, Sally Williams, who's our yoga teacher, so we talk about some of the pranayama, breathing techniques from yoga, and as you know, the breathing techniques from physiotherapy. So it is a nice gel, isn't it? The physio and yoga approach.
It's actually all become, everyone talks about this holistic medicine, which kind of bothers me, like bespoke, these words that have just come so overused.
Yeah.
But you having specialised for years in the importance of breathing and trying to get people to understand this, to now come to the point where everyone is like, what you need to do is be mindful and breathe, think about how you're breathing, control your breath.
Control your breath.
It must be quite satisfying for you personally as a professional to see they finally arrived, but you've been telling us that for years.
I know, and it is. It's really interesting, especially from a yoga perspective as well, my friends. So Sally, that they've been talking about breathing for so many years. I mean, as you know, I look after patients with lung disease, maybe lung cancer, emphysema, and heart disease as well. So I've got perhaps a medical side to it. But the reality of dysfunctional breathing in people that don't have an illness per se, but still have dysfunctional breathing patterns, and that's what we talked a lot about, wasn't it? The dysfunctional breathing patterns and how to correct those.
So what would be the negatives, for example, of me sitting there concentrating, just holding my breath? Why would it be better to actually be aware to breathe at the same time?
Well, first of all, you would want, on the whole, that breathing should be an unconscious activity, so you don't want to be aware of your breathing every second of the day. You couldn't be. It is an unconscious activity, but we also have conscious control of it. And the problem is sometimes with anxiety or stress or frustration or fear or any of those things, we tend to breathe poorly. And over time, breathing poorly can lead to problems in your carbon dioxide level and therefore your pH balance of your blood. And we talked a lot about carbon dioxide, didn't we?
We did, and I was absolutely amazed because carbon dioxide is good, and it's the carbon dioxide that actually makes us breathe. And not having enough isn't good for you. I listened.
Well done, you did as well. Well done.
I was just blown away. What?
Yeah, I know.
You would never think that.
So carbon dioxide is a waste product made in the body by metabolism, but the reality is we need the correct amount of carbon dioxide in the blood in order to maintain the blood's pH at the right level. And if we have too little carbon dioxide because we've been breathing badly, over-breathing for what the body needs, then if we have too little, we can get tingly, giddy, feelings of sickness, feelings of chest pain, feelings of being unable to breathe, all the feelings that can mimic heart attacks, even epileptic fits can be mimicked by low carbon dioxide levels, like panic attacks.
So, going to your course is a very relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah, really relaxed.
Give us a bit of an outline, because it's in your home and it's with snacks.
Get snacks and even tuna sandwiches.
Very nice English style. I mean, like really homemade.
Yeah, homemade. So eventually, as you say, it's a 2-hour workshop. We usually meet 5 to 6 to 7 people. And we start off with me explaining perhaps some of the physiology of breathing, talking about some of the muscles of breathing. Sometimes I might discuss, I don't think I did when you were there, but sometimes we talk about some strengthening exercises that you can do for the breathing muscles, because we all think about strengthening our legs and our arms, but we don't think about strengthening our breathing muscles. Then Sally may talk about some of the pranayama techniques in yoga to improve breath for energy and to maximise the volume of your breathing. And I will teach some breathing techniques about how to correct dysfunctional breathing, how to use the diaphragm properly. It's 2 hours.
It's very interactive.
It's very interactive.
And that makes it nice because you're not sitting there like being lectured at.
Yeah.
You literally are just like sitting there waiting to like, okay, yes.
And we want you to have tools so that when you leave the room, leave my house, you've got a set of exercises that you can use and implement at times that you might want to if you might be in stress or even for sleep. I mean, some of those breathing techniques, the box breathing and the cyclic sighing.
I tried that yesterday for something, and it was like, breathe it in, take an extra breath. Breathe it out and do an extra...
I know, it's lovely.
Because I was scared, I didn't want to go to sleep.
No.
So I understood that, that could be more like going round in your mind in a square. It could be more rhythmic and going to sleep than doing the...
Yeah, I mean, there's so people sometimes say to me, "Oh, I need to see you teach me some breathing exercises." Well, are we talking about breathing exercises to manage chronic cough, breathing exercises to help clear phlegm, breathing exercises to manage stress, breathing exercises to increase volume, breathing exercises for relaxation, breathing exercises for energy? There are different breathing exercises for so many different things that's what we try and teach you in the workshop. And it is fun, as you say, the workshops are fun.
It is fun, and if you think about it, without breathing, we wouldn't be here. So it is like the most fundamental part of our existence together with water. So to not pay attention to it, to not do something specifically to optimise it is silly.
Yeah, really
absolutely.
Well put.
So Dr. Rachel, Garrod and Sally do a great cause, and I have to say it was fun, it was informative, and once isn't enough. So
no, I know a lot of people come back again, and I don't think it's just for the tuna sandwiches.
No, but it's like each time you're more aware.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So and then you can practice on your own at home.
Yeah.
This one you can practice on your own at home.
Yeah, this one you can practice.
This one you can. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks.
Lovely
Thanks,
to see you
Nicole.
again. Don't go away.
Is happy to be your partner.
How cool is that? G-Wine.
Thank you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a zero-hero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Joining me now is Darren Hayward, and he's from a company called Nockolds. Not just any company, it's a law firm, a British law firm. A few weeks ago, we got to meet Flor the Lees, love the name, and she's a lawyer here with the Spanish branch that has opened up. But I'm delighted now to meet one of the big bosses from the UK and to find out exactly why this very established British company has decided to come over here to the coast. Darren, how lovely to meet you.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Nicole.
That was my absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for sponsoring the United Nationalities of Marbella
we're
Summit.
Delighted to. It's an honour.
2022 and
Absolutely.
2023
coming
up.
Delighted to.
Date, we have a date, breaking news, 18th of May. So a big open day, VIP breakfast, and then an open day at the Marbella Rugby Club. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's
I need
great
to
fun.
fill you guys in. I need to fill you guys in, but... Right now, it's lovely to have you here. I know you're on a very quick visit.
Yeah, we are.
Can I ask, is it to do with Brexit that suddenly you, at this moment in time, you decided, like, they need legal help over there? Why now?
Look, let me give you a bit of background about the firm. So Nockolds Solicitors, we're a UK law firm. We've got 2 offices in the UK, in Bishop Stortford, which is on the Hertfordshire-Essex border, very near Stansted Airport, and also an office right in the centre of London. So we have been in the UK, we've been practising law in the UK for about 190 years, so we're very well established. We have about 170 members of staff, and we cover the entire spectrum of legal services in the UK. But for a number of years, we've had a Spanish team based in our London office acting for and representing, advising primarily British people with interest in Spain. And so we thought, well, what would it look like if we actually came to Spain and actually set up an office here? I mean, Brexit wasn't the reason we came to Spain. We were doing that already. But I think what we've found is that with what's happened with Brexit, our services are even more in demand, and people just just want to know what their rights are and what they need to do.
Right, because everyone thinks like it's over. It's so far from over.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, it's so far from over.
Absolutely,
and there
yeah.
are things cropping up all the time. You must be surprised, I imagine, at how many unforeseen twists there
Sure.
have been regarding regulations and paperwork and
exactly. And I think absolutely with Brexit, no one knew what was going to happen and how it was going to happen. So I think what we're doing now is listening to clients and actually responding to their needs. And you know, as you say, we're only halfway, not even halfway through the journey of what the implications are. And so I think people on the Costa del Sol are reassured that there is a British law firm that can help them and navigate them and just be there to pop in, to have a chat with us, and we can then help them with whatever needs they need.
Well, it's really exciting that you're here. The first person I met of your team was Alexandra.
Yes.
Fitzroy Stone.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, the name.
We're delighted to have
it just
Alex
fits in with the history of your company. And congratulations on the new baby.
Yes, very
It's
much
really
so for her.
very exciting. But you have a very young, a very keen team. What are you offering differently here? What's like your main concentration of that you're going to work on here in Spain?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's interesting, Nicole. We've primarily, there are a couple of areas. It's primarily acting for British and expats or other European countries in real estate, buying and selling property. You know, it's probably the biggest asset anybody can actually buy, and I think British clients feel quite reassured having a British lawyer or interest, but also kind of like looking from a Spanish perspective. But also, in addition to real estate, estate planning and wills and inheritance, and also visas as well, has become particularly popular where people want to know exactly what their rights are. So I think we're very fortunate because we're so established in the UK and we have lots of lawyers in the UK to cross over the cross jurisdictions and to be here to advise and assist clients on the Costa del Sol and throughout Spain is something that people feel rather reassured because of our history back in with the UK.
I mean, obviously, it's not necessary just to be British or English to work with you, but the fact with how things are now post-Brexit,
sure,
particularly with the swallows, as we call them, and the people who really don't know how or where they should be, how to base themselves. It's really nice, I think, to have now that influence of the British legal system as well as the Spanish to really understand where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we, as people from the UK will know that, you know, lawyers in the UK are heavily regulated. We're not regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority, but what we want to do is just apply the same principles of kind of like high-level service, responsive, being, you know, the communication, and just being very open to come through, have a chat with us and see if we can help them. Not only British, but also other European countries as well. And we've also got a Spanish client base because lots of Spanish companies have got interest over in the UK, so they're coming to us and we're helping them as well. So it's just, we feel very privileged to be down here. People have been incredibly hospitable. We feel very much part of the local community, and it's all going very well, and we're delighted to be part of the Costa del Sol.
And you personally, are you enjoying it? Because you don't come over often, but are you like, and then you're busy when you get here.
Well,
so.
Absolutely. Look, I love coming over here. I mean, this was something we thought about 2-3 years ago before Brexit, and we've got to know the local people, especially in Estepona, and they could not have been more hospitable. The charm of Estepona, and I love being over here. We've got a fabulous team, and we have lawyers. We've got a few lawyers come on from the UK over here as well, so we feel very much part of the local community.
And are you embracing the little bit more relaxed atmosphere
Absolutely.
that we work in over
Absolutely.
here?
We love it. We absolutely
Ties
love
off
it.
and,
Absolutely. I know. I feel very liberated by the new lifestyle that we have.
I'm sorry, very well deserved that you're still working, but at least to have just like they say, a change is as good as a rest.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any last messages for our viewers before we leave it for there for today?
Well, thank you again for inviting us on today, and you know we're newly established in Estepona, and if we can help anyone at all, and people just want just to come in and pop in and just find out what their position is on a legal matter, then please come through the door because we're very open, we're very transparent, and what we want to do is just help people, and hopefully we can do that.
That's I'm just to ask one question. You've got
Go on.
offices in Hertfordshire and in the centre of London.
Yep.
And you've got all those hundreds of people working there. So, like, can people afford to walk through your doors? Is it very high level?
No, not at all. One of the things we've grown the firm significantly, and what we've been very good at is recruiting very good lawyers who are just normal, down-to-earth people. And so we're well aware of the nobody wants to come really see a lawyer because there's people feel intimidated by lawyers and very expensive. But what we've been very good at is just being there on hand to help people, to very aware of costs, and just really to communicate and just help people through the legal system, which can be really like a minefield.
Oh, I hope you keep on enjoying
Thank you, Nicole.
your stay, and that the office here keeps on expanding.
Thank you.
You have a lovely team. I have to say, when we go out and about and meet at the British Chamber of Commerce events
Sure.
and different things, it's really nice to catch up. It's like meeting friends.
Oh, well, thank
And I
you.
think that's the kind of people you want to put your
Very much
trust in.
so, absolutely.
Personable
yeah.
people.
Exactly. Spot on, yeah.
Yeah, personable people. Nockolds, personable people. Thank you very much, Darren.
Thank you, Nicole.
Don't go away, because there is still more to come.
Zero Hero, welcome here at the Gaucho de Banús.
Welcome to Lemongrass, Doña Lola. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, Kazakhstan is proud to welcome the Zero Heroes. So come on in and enjoy free soft drinks for anyone who is the designated driver. Thank you, Nicole.
So here we are at Everest. Very cool.
Yeah.
Stickers going up.
Hiya, my name is Govinda. I'm from Everest. Welcome to Zero Hero, to Everest Fusion, to enjoy your cocktails, drinks, and happy hour as well. And food, of course, is delicious. Thank you.
Welcome to Sister Taperia. Perfecto.
My Cit Marbella guest of the week is none other than Boho Club. Maybe some of you haven't been behind those walls, but you should. It's where the old Centro Forestal Sueco used to be, in the Golden Mile, but it's now been turned into an exclusive boutique hotel and restaurant that opens its doors to serve you food from like 8 in the morning till midnight, all through the day. Diego del Rio is their head chef. Everything is exquisite, and it really is a pleasure to welcome Eva to the program. Eva,
Hello.
you look as exquisite and luxurious as Boho Club. Very appropriate. You look quite lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for coming today to the program.
My pleasure.
As you girls already know, that Boho Club is one of my favourite places on the Golden Mile. Not that it's cheap, because obviously you pay for what you get for, but because you can get that, the feeling of luxury, 5-star. You can eat from breakfast all the way through all day with like really haute cuisine.
Exactly.
The atmosphere, however, is very comfortable. The decoration is superb. The staff are all friendly. It's a unique combination. How do you get this boho feeling?
Well, I think that at the end, you get the whole experience. You know, as you said, we have the kitchen all the day around, and you can mix from a nice breakfast for a good food. Now we are implementing some typical Spanish kitchen, like for example lentils with something new. So we are giving this Spanish culture also. And of course, Diego, now we have also implement a new happening, which yesterday was the first time that happened, and it's called A Memoir. And the idea is that Diego recreates his history behind all the chefs, like next to all the chefs that he has been working with. You know, so we are doing a lot of happenings during the months. Like for example, in February we will have some Valentine's Day. Then we'll have Carnival. Then also we will make the Andalusian Spanish Day, typical from us. So as you mentioned, we are kind of combining all the ambience, and we want Boho the place to be for us.
I think it's lovely that you are so welcoming to all nationalities, and I think it's a great way for particularly the British, who are very scared of trying new things and to see Spanish cuisine, and they just want the traditional roasted on Sunday. But I think actually Boho Club is a great way to introduce yourselves into the Spanish cuisine, because it's traditional dishes elevated, very, very elevated.
Yeah.
But I think it is a nice way to sample that Spanish culinary delights, because your food is wonderful. I mean, all Spanish food, particularly Andalus. I love Spanish food.
Exactly, and also we mix about international food because we want this to be a place for everyone. But a very important thing that we always try to do is working with local products, because Diego, he's from Ronda, but he has been living here in Marbella many years, so he always wants to mix and to give the power to the local suppliers, and that's something that I believe is very important for the freshness of all our food.
I was also beautifully surprised when I could see how many vegan options there were, because my children aren't just vegetarian, they're actually vegan, and it was lovely to see how many varieties. Normally they live on side, so if you're vegan, vegetarian, apart from all the fresh cut meats and we specialise in all kinds of food, as you say, local produce, but also wines.
Yeah.
I mean, your wine cellars are...
We have a sommelier, and always if you would like to have our degustation menu, you will have the wine accordingly with that. And of course we work with many different wines and wineries, local, international, so the quality of the wines that we have is incredible. So also for the people that like wine and that they want to mix the wine with the food, is the perfect place.
And I love the way that you do that with the different samplings, that people can actually taste things. And the sommeliers I've met, you can see, like with you, the enthusiasm for what they do. I don't know if it's a company trait that everybody is just so excited about where they work. And I love that you all dress beautifully, not necessarily in uniforms, but everyone looks so nice. It's very 5-star, but also affordable, because there are lots of different ways you can go to Boho to dine in haute cuisine and all elegance, but you can also go lunchtimes. There are special different menus, and you can go for like the after work light bites and cocktails.
You're a professional already. Very nice. Exactly, like every Thursday we have an after work. So the idea is that Boho become the place for everyone to come after their works to get a drink. Also in each after work we try to implement a new thing, so people can be each Thursday coming to Boho and experience new things with us.
Exactly, so kind of like a networking experience on Thursday evenings. And it is nice. And if the weather's not nice, you do that inside as well.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you want to be outside. The gardens and the terraces and the options of terraces are lovely, but the inside is equally as charming.
Yeah, and we have a DJ also inside, so the ambience that you make is like a family ambience, and really now for the winter time, it's a great place.
Is that just on Thursdays, the DJ?
Exactly. On Thursday, Friday and Saturday we have the DJs. Yeah. So,
and you're open in the restaurant from 8 in the morning till midnight.
Exactly.
And if you want to go there for Valentine's evening, I imagine you need to book quickly.
Exactly, because we will have big events on St. Valentine's Day. We'll have live music, we have a set menu, and we have a surprise that we will do a prize for someone. So I really recommend people to call us and come in there St. Valentine's Day.
And can they stay in the hotel as well if they want to spend the night? Is that also an option?
Exactly, of course, of course.
Okay, so I mean that kind of makes it like the perfect place.
The package, complete package.
A complete package. So if you haven't got a plan for Valentine's Day for your loved one, whether it be a he or she, sounds like the Boho Club experience is going to be just for you. I know it sounds like it's just for me. I can't tell I've been there before. Thank you so much for joining us.
It has been a pleasure to be here.
I look forward to seeing you at the Boho Club.
Yeah.
Or back on the TV another time.
Of course. Thank you very much for your time. A pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. Okay. Don't go away, because we're back in just a moment with more of what's going on in Marbella now.
Hey, hey. a new partner of Zero Hero.
Alright guys, so I'm the designated driver tonight, so I'm going to choose the Zero Hero place. So all of my soft drinks are for free. And if you want to go somewhere else, just check out the Facebook, Instagram or the zerohero.es website for any of the bars, discotheques or restaurants on there. I'm happy to go anywhere you want to go, as long as it's Zero Hero.
It's a brand new day.
Zero Hero, welcome to the Secret Garden. We welcome you.
It's a brand
As promised, I've brought back to the studio Isabella Magdala. She's a sexologist and psychologist, but above all, she's a young woman who's had a lot of experience in her life that she's had to recover from, and a lot of experience now helping others. She writes for Cosmopolitan and other such prestigious magazines, and also is now a feature on Marbella now every other week to talk about problems that actually come up for women in particular, not putting the men aside, but the happier we are, the happier men will be. So it kind of like really works out in the end. Isabella, welcome back to the program.
Oh, thank you for being here with you. It is a pleasure.
It's I had a lot of fun last time you were on the program talking about things as if I was a grown-up. I controlled myself. And I thought, okay, there are certain things about a woman's body that we normally don't talk about, but why not? So that was nice. But I thought it'd be look at the inside in another way this week, which would be, for example, they say, and I believe it, the first 6 years of our life make us who we are. That's when we learn our basic programming. And the traumas that we have as a child also, they determine how we can become as adults. But some people say you should really go back and go through it and look and see where the problems were. And others say, no, forget it happened and move on. Would you mind if I take advantage and ask you, in your professional opinion and in your personal experience, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's important to face the trauma and also to learn of living with that. But the right moment, not too much, because if not, it is like an addiction, going and going to review and review. And each time when we review the trauma in our brain, it is like it's happening now, not in the past. Then it's important to face the problem, but not longer. It's the right moment. And after, go with the life. And of course, it's important to feel which is the effect of that trauma in our daily life, not only in the 6 years at the beginning. Maybe the trauma can happen in 2 minutes for something that comes now in a conversation and we have like a flashback or something like that, but maybe a separation and divorce or so many things that can be very, very traumatic.
It's funny how many little things, as you say, can come up. My granddaughter thought that she was responsible for her baby sister getting a cold. And it was out of the blue that it came out, but she could have lived with that for the rest of her life, thinking her little baby sister was in hospital because it was her fault. And little things like that can really affect you your whole life unless they come up and you talk about them. The importance, as you say, is not to go into it too much. Some people live 100% in the past. How do we stop? Because that's a big one. We all do that. We get on a subject and it takes us down and further down, and we keep going down.
Yeah, and it is because in our brain, when we have a trauma, it's in the amygdala, I don't know. In
the amygdala, I think, in English
amygdala,
as well.
Yeah. In the limbic system, there is like a print of the emotion. Then the emotion can very, very often in the mind, and then when we have that emotion, we need to stop. How can we stop that emotion? It's very important, for example, the breathe again with very consciousness and being present, knowing that the past is the past, but in the present we can bring different skills like feel our body, take maybe in consideration this program, and also mindfulness is very useful. And the most important thing is to darse cuenta, realize that the effect, because maybe the anxiety, anxiety or guilt or shame, all of these different feelings can be in connection with that trauma, because if not, we have the emotion and we don't stop. Then if we don't stop, we cannot get the information that is very important to be able of doing something different.
How does one know that they are perhaps suffering from subconscious trauma to go and ask for help? When would be that moment to say, well, maybe I should go chat with somebody?
When we are in reaction and maybe we don't know why or what happened, probably there is something traumatic in the unconsciousness. Because if not, when we have everything in control and we know what we to do, what we want, this is okay. But if we feel something like, oh, I wanted to do something different, but finally I am again fighting or shy, or probably there is something that is pushing you in another way that you want, because dissociation is very connected with trauma, and dissociation is when you want to do something but you do exactly the opposite. And this is a very characteristic of trauma inside.
That's curious, because it is. It's like self-sabotage. You want to do one thing, you do another. How it's like the history repeats itself, patterns repeat themselves. Breaking the cycle, being aware is the first thing. When someone goes, for example, to see you, what would be the methodology to help someone realize, because I imagine it can't be just a one visit, but to, I suppose, learn to reprogram, be self-aware, and then apply techniques to reprogram, because we're also quick to criticize ourselves.
Yes. The important thing is to find the emotion in connection with the trauma and bring the person in a very like beta onda in the brain, with beta in peace, calm, and in that moment to print another emotion very functional for that person. Today I had a session for first time with a woman, and she is experiencing in her sexual life, like sexologist, a repetition of traumatic escenas,
circumstances
in her past. And she's in a new relationship, and she wants to explore with normal her sexuality. And what I did, I wanted to bring her in her present, but deleting the past. It's simple. You go to the past, you look that, and you say, okay, bye-bye, I am not that person, this is my real life now, I am in another reality, and I need to believe in this possibility of open new ways, live a new life, and be very, very compassionate and very gentle with herself. Because sometimes we want to bring the change in 2 seconds, and it needs time.
Well, that's what we have run out of at the moment. But as you can see, Isabella Magdala is fascinating, and I think that's a great note to finish on. Be nice to yourself, be nice to each other. Take care of yourselves. You are important, and we've talked all through the programme with Dr. Rachel about breathing, the importance of breathing. We are valid human beings, and we need to make sure that we look after ourselves. Isabella, thank you for joining me again. I look forward to the next time.
Thank you so much.
And if you want help and want to talk to someone, as you can see, she's a lovely young woman and very, very qualified. That's it for this week. Take care of yourselves. Again, be nice to each other, be nice to yourself. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. If you want to watch recordings of the programme, you can do so from the RTV Marbella website. They've also got a YouTube channel, as do I, and you can also go to the social media on my website, nicoleking.es. Look it up, Marbella now. That's what's happening. Take care. Bye for now.
You'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna